Girl, get up. It's time to switch it up. It's time for you to stop being lazy and making excuses. Back with another video, sweetie. I'm 𝚲𝚃, your virtual motivational bestie. Y'all, I'ma just need y'all to hear me out before we even get started. This is a video that might hit you hard, but it's real. I feel like how I speak to myself is how I'm gonna speak to you guys. I love myself and I love you guys. So sometimes tough love is what we need. And in today's video, we're gonna get a lot of tough love, and I'm just gonna be real with you guys because it's really time to stop making excuses. We are about to enter 2024. I'm just tired of always making excuses to why I can't get to the next level in my life and reach my goals. I had to repeat this to myself time and time again as to why do I keep making these same excuses? Why can't I make it to the gym? Oh, I'm just too tired, I can't wake up. Oh, it's not enough time in the day. The list literally goes on. We just really need to stop and be real with ourselves as to why we keep making these excuses and why we're not getting to that next point in our lives. Why we can't be disciplined, why we aren't achieving our goals. We have to be real, like, no more of this, oh, I'm just lazy. Oh, it's because this happened. Oh, because I don't have the money. Oh, because I don't have this. I mean, we can literally make excuses for every single thing, but does excuses get us anywhere? No, it does not. So if this is you today, it's okay, because I'm here to give you guys some useful advice and some tips on what has helped me and even still helping me to this day, because I'm not perfect. I never will be perfect, but I tried my best to achieve my goals. So with that being said, I'm gonna teach you how to become that girl, how to stop being lazy and making excuses. So without further ado, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and let's get straight into today's video. So before we get into the tips and advice, I feel like we must identify why we're in this state. So first thing I want to get into is what causes laziness and why do we become lazy? So a lack of self-esteem, a lack of positive recognition by others, a lack of discipline stemming from a low self-esteem, or a lack of interest in the activities or belief in its efficiency. This can even bring a lack of motivation, no clear direction or interest, or even a feeling of overwhelm. So we have to really start to identify what is causing us to become lazy, overwhelmed, why we don't want to do certain things, or why we keep making up excuses. It has a lot to do with what's happening in the inside of us. And once you can identify that, that will allow you to understand, okay, what is making me get to this point? And then you can start breaking those bad habits that are making you become this lazy person. If that means you need to get your self-esteem together, well, then you need to start working on that. If this means that you need to stop breaking bad habits that allow you to get into laziness, then you need to do that. We have to do the work inside, so then that way we can start to really become our best version of ourselves so that we can start achieving our goals. With laziness, it can cause a lack of passion for like your job or any activity, a overwhelming to-do list, which I talked about in the past, my past few videos, about making your to-do list fit your life and what you have in the day and not to overpack, because what happens is you start to get overwhelmed and then you don't get them checked off, and this can literally lead to burnout. And with the burnout, y'all, I've been on burnout, and burnout is not fun. For me, it took me months just to get back on track. So this is some of the things that you may feel when you're being lazy. So now that we know and we can identify what's happening, what's going on, now we need to move on to how do we stop being lazy and how do we stop telling ourselves to make excuses for why we can't do something. The first thing is you need to stop being negative. And I know that when you're in that headspace, it is hard to get out of it. I really understand. But at the end of the day, like, at some point, you're gonna have to stop being negative. Like, you're just going to have to tell yourself, today is not the day. Today, I'm going to be positive and I'm not going to be negative. You're just going to have to really push it out of yourself and tell yourself no more. It's really a mind game, and when I tell you, when you really understand it's all in here, your whole thinking and what you perceive and how you view the world is gonna be so different when you really understand that everything starts here. How you feel about yourself, what you see about how you see things, how you perceive things, how you perform at your job, how you are in relationships, and how you interact and communicate with people. We need to use positive talk instead of negative talk. And what happens is when you start being negative, it derails you from where you're trying to go. And this goes for every aspect in your life. And even telling yourself that you're lazy is a form of negative talk. And this is why I say words really matter, because you are speaking these things over your life. Like, and you're not even realizing you're speaking these things over yourself. That's why I've been really trying my hardest to watch what I say. Like, you may think it's just funny, it's just a saying, oh, we just say it like it's slang, it's whatever. No, baby, we're gonna have to stop that. That's done and over with. Like, no. The words that we speak, they form and they manifest. And so when you start speaking these negative things over your life, like, oh, I'm lazy, oh, my hair's not gonna grow, oh, I'm this and that. Like, when you start speaking these things over yourself, you're speaking them into existence. And then you start to realize you're actually becoming every word that you've said and spoken over yourself. And what does the Bible say about speaking? He says life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if you're speaking life, well, life is gonna happen. If you're speaking death and negative, it's going to happen. It's going to manifest. Life and death is in the power of our tongue. So we have to really start realizing that we can't be doing this no more. We can't be doing this negative talk. And that's why I am so adamant about doing affirmations and speaking positive things over yourself, speaking the word of God over yourself, because that's what's gonna help you. That's what's gonna push you and motivate you. That's what's gonna help you to form into what you need to be. And what is that? That is being a child of God, baby. You know, walking in this journey, walking the way that God wants me in his direction. So for instance, if you're a person that is like, oh, I can't do that, or that's too hard, like, instead of saying that, switch it up, baby. Like, switch it up and say, no, I can do that. And the thing is like, you gotta start believing in yourself. And I think that's somewhere in those lines is where people kind of like get to that negative talk, because they don't love themselves and they don't believe in themselves. And when you love yourself, you're not gonna be talking negative about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're being real, like, when you love you, you're not gonna speak nothing negative over yourself. So you might need to re-examine, you might need to examine yourself and see, okay, do I actually love myself? What's going on? Why am I being so mean? Why am I being so negative about myself? No, you need to start speaking over yourself and speaking life to yourself. And I wanted to say, one thing that I feel like kind of goes hand in hand with all of this is that spirit of perfectionism. And I tell you, it is a killer. It is a killer of joy. Because what happens is you're trying to be so perfect to a point, like, it's causing you to be overly critical about yourself, to the point where it will lead into anxiety, where it will lead into depression, where it will lead into many other things, because you're trying so hard to be a perfect when that's not who we are. We're not meant to be perfect. Like, we're far from perfect, and it's never gonna be a point where we're gonna be perfect. So we just need to cut that out. Like, we just have to really let ourselves know, like, there's no point, there's no there's no perfect time. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, I gotta find the perfect time to do. No, there's no perfect time. There's just no perfect time. And that is just being real. Like, you just cannot be perfect. So at the end of the day, it's like, if you've tried your best and you put 100% into whatever you're doing, take that and go and run with it. Stop trying to be like, okay, well, it needs to be like this. No, it needs to be better, 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 better. And then next thing you know, there's years, months, still's not done because you feel like it still hasn't been completed because you're trying to strive for perfection. It's like, we're not gonna be perfect. So when you get that out of your head, that will lessen the anxiety about trying to be perfect when you're doing things. And that can be for anything in life, like your job, if you're a content creator, if you're an entrepreneur, have business, all of these things. And it was funny, I had read in this article, another smaller study of the college students concluded that expecting perfection was related to avoidant copying, which causes you to avoid dealing with stressors. So with that being said, we just have to really try our hardest not to get to that point in that state of mind. We just have to really relax, and we have to really be one with ourselves and know who we are. And once we know that, like, that won't be such an issue of being a perfectionist, and just knowing that, like, this is not gonna always be perfect, but this will do. All right, so with that being said, let's get into our tips. We're gonna be quick and brief with these. These are our tips on how you're going to become her, be that girl. So let's get into it. So the first tip is to create a plan of action. Planning on how to get something done will actually make it easier to get there when you actually plan it. So being realistic about the time, how much effort it's gonna take, any factors that play into meeting this goal. Having a plan will provide clear direction. Having a plan will provide direction and confidence. And I feel like this will even help you, even if you decided like, and this would also help you to, and this will also help if you hit like a mountain or a hurdle along the way, especially when you're going through this plan. Plan, and you can see everything. It will relieve the stress, the anxiety, and it won't make you feel overwhelmed when you actually lay everything out and you can create a plan that's realistic. The next tip is using your strengths. So I want you to take a moment to think about all of your strengths. Sorry you guys if the lighting is changing. The sun is going in and out today, so please excuse me. Take a moment to think about what are your strengths when setting these goals. And what this is, if you know your strengths, this will help you to achieve your goals. So for instance, try to apply them to different aspects of a task to help you to get things done. So research has shown that focusing on strengths increases productivity, positive feelings, and engagement in work. So we all have strengths somewhere. So you just have to dig deep. If you feel like you don't have any, you do have some. You just need to dig deep and really sit down in a quiet space, get your paper out, notebook, computer, whatever, and start writing down all your strengths on a paper. When you get that, then you can start understanding like, okay, like your girl got a lot of strengths, you know what I'm saying? Like really think hard. And at this point, you should not be thinking negative. Start writing down these strengths. You'll start to know like, okay, I can use this strength when I'm tackling this task. The next tip is recognize your accomplishments along the way. So I have always slacked in this area because at the time I felt like what I accomplished was not good enough. And that boiled down to what I thought about myself and how I valued myself. Just because I feel like this is not what someone else did, it's because I'm seeing outside stuff. And outside stuff seems bigger than what I'm doing. You cannot wrap yourself up in this false sense of who you are because of social media. Social media is a stiller of people's personalities, their joy, their lives, all of the above. Everything that you have done is an accomplishment, no matter if it's big or small. It's like if you knew like, okay, I wanted to save $1,000 and you actually saved $1,000, that is a accomplishment. Like you have to be proud of the small wins. You have to just be thankful for all of your accomplishments. And this is why I love like my little template that I had created about like my dream life, because I have a part on the template that is like my proof, which shows me what the things that I have accomplished so that I can actually see like, okay, a year has went by, what have I done? Sometimes we can feel like that, like what have I done this whole year? Like have I done anything? You have. You just need a place where you can put or even write it down of what you have accomplished so that you can start seeing like, I am doing something. I'm not just a bum. Like I am making progress. Little progress is better than no progress. So this will really boost your confidence and bring that positivity that you need to keep going is when you start to recognize your accomplishments. And even if you want to throw yourself a party, baby, throw yourself a party. I don't care if you just got 1,000 subscribers. Throw yourself a party. It's a celebration. Every win is a celebration. So you need to start celebrating yourself. The next tip is make tedious tasks fun. So with this being said, I know all of us out there have a lot of tedious tasks that we keep putting off, we keep procrastinating, and we keep saying, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. So it comes to a point where we're gonna have to start really romanticizing these tedious tasks, because that's only how we're gonna get it done. That's only how we're gonna like push ourselves to do it. And I'm just speaking for myself, because I'm like, there's certain things that I don't want to do, but I'm like, all right, get it together. Let's romanticize it. So if I knew, like, for me, a tedious task is folding clothes. I literally hate folding clothes. When I get rich, baby, I'm going to be putting all my clothes, taking them to the dry and fold, okay? Like, I will pay the money to get it done. Or I would pay someone to hang them up, baby, like please, I don't wanna do it. Taking those small and tedious tasks and turning them into something that you actually romanticize. So how do you do this? Simple. For me, I will make this task fun by making maybe a cup of chai, a cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee anymore, but before, make some coffee. Make my favorite coffee, espresso or whatever, and put on a show. Light a candle, and I will start to fold, and I will take my time. And I try to do things that will get my mind off of, oh, I gotta do this task. I try my hardest to not think about any of those negative things about this tedious task and focus on what I have right now, which is my favorite cup of coffee, which is my favorite show on, and being in a room that smells good and cleaning. So it's just like when you think about that and romanticize it, it makes the task fun, and you'll be able to get it done. For you, it might be listening to a podcast, listening to music. It might be on FaceTime with your friend while you're doing it. So you just have to find the joy and the fun in all these little tedious tasks. We just gotta stop complaining at the end of the day. That's something I'm working on. I just gotta stop complaining. Like, complaining does not get you anywhere. It does not make anything better. It makes things worse. So we just gotta stop complaining. Like, as much as we wanna complain, cause ooh, I am the one that be complaining and venting. But really, it's just like, baby, it doesn't do anything. It makes you in a worse spot than you were, because you start talking about it and then you start really like thinking about it. You're like, oh my God, like I really hate this and this and that. No, we gotta cut that out. Like, being that girl, she's not a complainer. She's not like, oh, a sob story. Like, she's not that person. She's just not. And when I mean by that girl, it's not a specific person and not a specific like aesthetic. It's literally being a better person, which is more positive, which is really on their ish. And I feel like we can't be on our ish if we complaining every day. Like, how are we gonna get anywhere complaining? The last tips that I have for you guys is really start to be disciplined. We must be disciplined. And this is going to help us throughout this whole journey. And why is this gonna help us throughout this whole journey? Because the time that you don't feel motivated, that's where discipline kicks in. And because there's gonna be times where we're not gonna be motivated. Like, I'm being real, like, motivation comes and goes. Like, it literally comes and goes. And sometimes we can try to like feel the high of the motivation and do all we can while we're feeling that, but it also goes down, you know? And so I feel like that's where discipline kicks in when we are not feeling, you know, motivated. It kicks in like, okay, well, this is something that I have to do. If you're being disciplined, you're gonna get it done, even if the motivation's not there, because you know this is something that you have to do. It's an action that you have to do for you to be able to get to this next point in your life. So discipline is just something that we're all gonna have to develop. At some point, you gotta really speak to yourself and be like, I need to be more disciplined. Discipline with my finances, discipline with my relationship, discipline with my cleaning, discipline with my job, with my work. Whatever it is, we're just going to have to be disciplined. And discipline will get you a long way. It will really like promote you. And when I say promote you, discipline will really promote you. Like, there is something within discipline that just does something. Like, in people's lives. Like, it just increases that consistency, that persistency. It just allows you to get to that next point in your life when you're disciplined. And I feel like all humans need to have discipline. Right now, these are the steps that you need to become that girl, which is your version of your best self. And I just felt like I just needed to really tell y'all, like, we just gotta stop with the excuses and stop saying we can't because of this, money, this and that, or like, oh, I'm just not in the right spot, I'm not in the right place. It's just never gonna be a perfect time. Like, you gotta cut the bull. You must be real with yourself and honest with yourself and be like, today is the day that I'm gonna stop making excuses for myself. So let's say this together. Repeat after me. Today is the day that I am going to stop making excuses for myself. Okay, yes. And I am your accountability partner. I am here as your virtual motivational bestie, and I just want us all to win, and I just need all of us to stop with this excuses, because it's starting to, like, it's just not working anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's just not working anymore. And we're all seeing that it's not working anymore. Like, the excuses are dead. So I need y'all to get on your grind. I need y'all to get up. Like, I need y'all to really get up and just start grinding and start really seeing yourself in a better light and seeing yourself as a better person. And when you can visualize your better self, it's like you're gonna hustle hard to get to that. So how bad do you really want it? Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Give me some comments down below. Let's chat it up in the comments, and let's just really grind. Like, let's really uplift each other and know that we can do this. Like, it's not impossible. It is possible for us to do it, and all things are possible through Christ. So at the end of the day, if we know Christ is on our side, baby, it's gonna get done. So with that being said, don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and follow me on my socials on Instagram and TikTok. I do shorter form content like this on TikTok, just motivational stuff. If you guys wanna follow me there, that would be great. And other than that, I will catch you in my next video, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out, y'all.